Welcome to John Jordy Show. This is episode 8 with Blair Bretag. We talked about his career through fighting, his mindset through fighting, getting through injuries, his business, and travelling. Give this a like and subscribe, you bastards. How's things then, Blair? Tell us a little bit about your recent fight you just had.
Yeah, so what's gone on, six weeks or something now?
Yeah.
Since that last fight in Gold Coast on Eternal. Yeah, I think you just joined the team when I was kind of getting to the end of that camp. Hey, yeah, we did a few kind of weeks together.
Yeah, probably about a month before, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything leading up to that fight felt fucking insane. Hey, it almost got to the point where I was like, shit, and I feel too calm about this. I feel really, really good, and I feel like I just kind of really got to a point in my my career, my fighting, where I've found the right place to be in terms of training, how I mentally need to approach everything, how things are moving in the gym. So when I walked into that fight night, man, it was best performance I think I've put on, and the best I've ever felt walking into the cage. And it really, really showed. He's a good opponent. He's a highly regarded striker. He's been around for a while. So I was so keen for that fight, and I was kind of spewing that it didn't go longer. I really wanted someone like him to test me. I know it sounds stupid, right? You want to get in and out pretty unscathed, but also want to kind of find out what I'm made of, right? We do some big rounds in the gym, but different being in the cage. You got the crowd there. You got someone beating the shit out of you in 4-ounce gloves. So yeah, dream result, dream camp.
Yeah, mad. And that's your fourth fight, is it? Fifth fight?
Fourth pro fight. Yeah, 3-1 now.
Yeah, and you didn't have an amateur career, yeah?
No, I had
Nothing
no
at all.
No.
Obviously, so before your MMA, before you started MMA, how many kickboxing fights you have?
I had 4 kickboxing fights, and between my last kickboxing fight to MMA, I think it was 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, right.
And all amateur kickboxing, Muay Thai, modified Muay Thai, at Rumble in the Ridge. I think my last one, they flew me down to Sydney to open for a pro fight show, but it was just an amateur fight. I look back at some of those old videos. It's so funny seeing yourself, I know it's a different discipline, but how I fought, how I moved. I still see bits of me now, but I was such an amateur, really, so long ago and so little experience. So 4 fights, but I've always been on and off training since then. Yeah,
right. And you obviously started off, was it boxing, kickboxing, just straight into Muay Thai?
Straight Muay Thai, yeah.
Yeah, right. So what was the reasoning between having so long, you've been training for 8 years, you said. Mm-hmm. So why was there only 4 fights in between that? Was there any reason, or just not was it not the thing that you knew you wanted to do, or what was the, yeah?
Yeah, I had those amateur fights, and each one of those were a year or almost a year in between. And then I kind of I was just out of school at that point. I think I was 18 on my last fight. And
oh shit, so you started younger?
Yeah, I started when I was 14,
right.
15. And then had my first fight at, I think, 15, 16. Next one, 17, and then 18. I think it was my last one. So then I didn't fight again until I was 2 years ago, so 24, 25. And just the distance between the fighting is, I just didn't see it as the career or the path that I was taking at that point. I was just out of school, so I was trying to work more, make a life, work out what I wanted to do. And I actually moved overseas and lived in Canada for a few years. I did 2 years in Canada, just traveling as you do, working overseas.
How old were you then?
What was that 19 to 21 to 22, something like that. And then I did a little bit of training over there, but I was in a small little town. There was no gyms. I was just kind of just partying, traveling, doing everything you do when you go overseas. And when I got back, I was the last flight back into Australia during COVID, before they shut the whole world down. That was the day my visa ended. I had the flight booked. We landed, and then they literally shut the airport behind us. No one was allowed out. So I moved to Brisbane, and I was in the basement of my brother's house, trying to work out what was next in life. Because the world shut down, no one knew what was going to happen. No one knew how long it was going to be closed for. In my mind, I was going back overseas. I was traveling for another 5-6 years. That's had been my plan since I was a kid, to travel the world. And then when the world wasn't opening back up and I had to kind of work out what I was going to do. And all I knew was I just needed to get back into some form of a training or martial arts, because the best I've ever felt, the best, most motivated I've ever been was when I'm training. And I love punching people in the face too. So I was like just looking for a gym to kind of get back into once all that shit was going on.
Why Canada?
Why not? Like snowy mountains.
Oh, fuck, I agree. Like, but was it like friends over there that took you there, or?
Yes and no. I grew up in Bundaberg on the beach in Bargara, so I grew up with ocean, sand, beautiful kind of landscape. So you usually want what you don't have. So mountains, snow. Never been. I wanted to go snowboarding, hiking in rainforest and shit like that. And then I had a friend, my best friend at the time, Gemma. She was going over, and I just missed her. I was landing as she was leaving, so she kind of took me around for the last few weeks of her visa. And then I kind of just took over her trip from there, and I took over her car and where she lived, and that's just started my trip. So yeah, I had a friend over there who was telling me about it, but it's always kind of one of the places I wanted to go.
Yeah, it's one of the best. Like for me, coming over to Australia, it's like one of the best things I've ever done. Like just fucking, and you've been everywhere as well, like, innit?
Yeah, I think it's that change of scenery. Eh? Like Wales, this is the polar opposite of Wales, and I guess for you, the polar opposite of Bundy was Canada.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
It's weird. Like I grew up in Bundy. It's not like a terribly small town like some of these other country towns, but we've got a population of 100,000, so it's still pretty small in the scheme of cities and stuff. So I thought moving to Canada, I'd end up in a big city, like complete polar opposites. I moved to a town with 4,000 people in it.
Right.
And the tourism there is huge, because obviously you got like lakes. You've got the city people go out into the country to go mountain biking, to go skiing and do all this stuff. So the tourism or the people coming through the town's a lot more, but the residence itself was like 4,000. And I was literally in the wilderness and just snowboard every day, go out the lake, go hiking, and I fell in love with the place. Like if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would still be over there. I'd be a resident for sure.
That's so cool. Like me and the missus, we were actually planning on, I think it was before COVID had happened, but we were planning a trip, doing like 2 months in Canada. Like we were looking to go through the summer, through I think Banff and Whistler. Now. Yep. And like because like a friend of ours, we were like, oh, where should we go on holiday next day? And like a friend of ours was like, have you ever thought about Canada? And I hadn't, but like started Googling stuff on the fucking countryside, and it's unreal. It looked unreal, like. Yeah. But we never made it over there. But doing the ski season over there must have been wild, yeah. Oh,
it was insane. My first year was really, really good, but my second year in the ski season was actually I had set a goal as I wanted to work on a heli ski lodge. So you get in a helicopter, you fly to the top of a mountain, and you ski down. And I got the job. I was talking to all the right people, and I got the job. So my job was get in a helicopter, fly to work in the middle of the mountain ranges, not a single thing around you, living in a lodge. You'd spend 2 weeks up there, and the rich and famous would fly up. You live there, you feed them. My job was a bartender, so I literally just would stay up, party with them, serve them drinks until they passed out, wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then go heli skiing all day. So you'd go from the top of the mountain, then you'd fly deep into the mountain range, go heli skiing, come back and do it all again. 2 weeks flat. Best experience ever. So very hard to come back from living that type of life to moving back to Brisbane. It's like, oh, we're going to go work in a gym. Yeah, sick. I had literally the best job in the world. But I cherish those experiences and those memories. But so heli skiing, that was one of my last jobs when I was over there. And it is awesome. Like the deep power, nothing around, literally sitting on top of a mountain with your helicopter, like half on the mountain, half off, like you see Red Bull guys do. And you got to like jump to the front of the helicopter so you don't fall off like it's everything you expect it to be.
That's so wild, eh?
Was that your first time out of Bundy, like out of the country?
No, I was fortunate enough that my family traveled a lot when I was younger. My mum worked in aviation, so she was always traveling, and that's where my love for travel came from. So like when we were younger, we did Thailand a few times, been to China, Fiji and shit. So I traveled. I knew I wanted to travel, and I think that's why I aimed so high. I was like, I wanted to live the experience the best that I can. And once I was over there, I was like, I'm never coming home. I'm going to travel for the rest of my life. Yeah. That's
wild, man. And when you came back to Brizzy then, so like, do you get back, start training straight away? What was your, like, I know you said you moved in with your brother, but where did you go from there?
Yeah, so moved in and obviously just kind of navigating those few months where everything was going to close down and working out how the world's going to operate with COVID. My brothers in that time, they actually purchased a few gyms, 12 Rounds Fitness, which is a boutique fitness, boxing and functional strength.
Yep.
Now they bought the gyms and I started managing one of them, learning the ins and outs of that, and which was in hindsight probably really, really good for me because it got me into like a community kind of mindset. The 12 round, or it's now called U-Box, community between the gym owners and trainers is quite tight. So I actually got to meet a lot of really cool people and start to find myself in Brisbane in that community. And I still talk and hang out with a lot of those people now. I came across a guy, his name was Barney, and he managed the 12 rounds in in Milton. And he's like, "Oh, I heard you're a fighter." I'm like, "Yeah, let's fucking go, boy." And he's like, I hit pads with one of my mates every Wednesday. Come along. Let's throw down. And he introduced me to Elliot Compton. Right. So he's like, "I actually train at this gym. We're about to move over to Northgate. That's pretty close to where you are. Come train." So that's actually how I found my first gym in Brisbane to go train at. And I messaged Elliot, and he was like, "Hey, I'm actually quarantined in a hotel. He just fought Nicky Holskin. I'm back in a week on home soil. Come have a chat. Let's see what we can do." And that's how I finally found a gym for me to go start doing martial arts at.
And you'd never done any MMA or jiu-jitsu or anything until then?
No, I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest. My brother was a Muay Thai fighter, Australian champion, Queensland champion, and I just knew Muay Thai and obviously know the UFC and everything, but I never thought, yeah, sick, I'm going to go do MMA now. So when I joined Compton, I was just striking. I was just doing the nighttime classes. And then I just kept training, do some PTs until Elliot's like, "Hey, like you know your shit, come join the pro team at 10 a.m. Started doing that. And then he's like, "Oh, do you want to jump in the grappling?" I'm like, "Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing." But I used to play rugby, so I'm like, I'm just going to fucking throw some people around, see what happens. And as you know, you get humbled pretty quickly. But the boys kind of looked after me, and every session would just give me a few tips. Just work on this, work on this, work on this. So I actually didn't do any grappling or jiu-jitsu classes for the first 12, 18 months. Like I only started doing classes like this year.
Right.
So I did my first 12 months, even into my pro career as a fighter, I still hadn't done a class. Right. But I was training with Dom every day. I was training with Steve-O, and they'll just give me little tips to work on. And I think that helped me operate really, really well in that environment. Just kind of working on small things, understanding the body movements needed for grappling. And yeah, now I feel like I do not too bad. So yeah, that's kind of how I found my entry into MMA.
Australia's best white belt.
Self-proclaimed.
That's what your coach told me. He's like,
take that.
He's like, "He's pretty good, eh?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "He's a white belt." I was like, "Shit." And he's like, "Try to give him his black belt. You wouldn't take it."
I gave it back. I'm going to put that on my Instagram bio. Australia's best white belt.
Man, belts don't mean shit.
Yeah. Nah, like I said to you the other day, I wouldn't mind doing a few more like jits competitions and stuff just to see where I stand with it. Even though I don't necessarily do classes or been doing it for a while, I'm training 2-3 times a day, every day for the last 2.5 years, right? So that skill acquisition has come so fast, and I'm learning from some of the best guys and rolling with some of the best guys every day. So yeah, it was really cool getting into jiu-jitsu and grappling, being a student again of the game, because I've been kickboxing for so long, and obviously you're always learning, but to be a fresh student in something that I have no idea about, it was awesome. I fell in love with it, as you do, and just that constant progression in that area.
It's interesting that is because you see, I've seen some like kickboxers that have like that are good kickboxers, and then they tend to go start doing grappling later on. And I can understand why they'd struggle to go to it, and be bad at a combat sport, because it's like you have to be shit at it for a bit, and it's like, and it's quite hard. It's hard for some people to start when they have no combat skills, or they're not like tough guys or whatever, But like, if someone's like really, really good at Muay Thai or kickboxing or whatever, to then go and get beaten up by some white belt nerd,
it's like some 16-year-old kid half your size.
That's a hard journey to do, like when you're like a fighter or whatever, But it's good that you could just go fucking hooked on it. I think it'd be good for you to do like a white belt comp just to see how easy it would be for you. But I think it would almost be a waste of time for you. You'd be better off just going in and jumping in with the fucking brown and black belt. Like,
Yeah, that's why grappling industry is so good, because you can be, you can be a white belt and you can jump in there and versus a black belt. And like, yeah, I think you do really fucking well.
Fuck, don't hype me up too much, boys. My head's already big enough as it is.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying about like, not saying that I was elite striker or anything before I started grappling, but having been good at something or having that ego in one area and pushing yourself to be in a position where you're literally absolutely nothing. You got to learn again. That humbleness, I think you true martial artists really embrace that type of shit.
Yep.
I think the environment we've got at Compton embodies that as well. You can easily like avoid doing new stuff so you don't look like a fucking idiot. But how do you progress? How do you get better if you're always just stroking your ego, right? I'm good at striking, so I'm really going to strike. Well, try something you're not fucking good at. Like, push yourself to kind of be better in a different area and see how that helps in other things, right? So, yeah, it definitely embodies like what our kind of mindset at Compton to kind of do that.
Man, it's a crazy high level room. Like, every gym has like, a couple of good guys, but I felt like everyone in there was fucking good. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like, there's a quote, I think Heath Pettigo said, he's like, if you look around for an easy roll and you can't find one, you're probably the easy roll. That's how I felt. I was like, fucking hell, man.
I think what's shocking about it as well is like, I thought of Compton as like more of a striking based gym. And you go down there and everyone's fucking really good grapplers and wrestlers and stuff. Yeah. It's that was a shock for me when I first started coming down, like, and the striking as well. I thought I was like a fucking good striker. I go down there and I was just having a fucking hard time. Like, it's just fucking for months. Still do now. You know what I mean? It's like fucking It's a wild environment. Fair play. So what kind of skill level do you have before starting Compton's? Do you think that you've improved a lot since being down there as well, like in terms of your striking as well? Do you think you've had to adapt it a lot from the kickboxing? Was that a struggle at all, or was it just something that happened pretty natural?
Yeah, I think a prime example is if I go back and look at kind of my last few kickboxing fights, my amateur kickboxing fights, and how I used to move back then was very standoffish, long range kind of kicks, slapping, no real power and anything. And then obviously sparring me now, like I'm a complete different athlete. Like obviously time does that, but my adaptation to like the Compton style, how aggressive it is, staying in the pocket, my skill level. I came in open-minded and I wanted to learn. Like, these guys were good and I wanted to do that. And I think that mindset helped me learn really, really fast. But yeah, they've evolved me into this like a beast. Even I kind of watch my fight backs. I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? Like, there's no way I know what I'm doing in that situation. So
they've just got the controller.
Yeah. Just standing on the side, X, Y, X, Y. So I think, they've taken me to a point where I didn't even kind of see possible. And that's just not in the MMA sense, just my striking in general. I took a few elements and my skill set that I was really good at from my past, like my kicks and my elbows and stuff, and they're still really strong. But like my hands now, I couldn't throw a punch to save my life when I came to that gym. Now I've got some, like all my finishes have come from hands, which is funny, right? Like all my finishes come from my boxing, yet in the gym, I'm a big kicking guy. Like I'll kick all day long, I'll elbow all day long. Probably the punches take the back seat, yet in all my fights, I'm just throwing hands because I just feel confident from what they've kind of taught me and installed on me. Just becomes second nature at that point. So, yeah, I can't remember what the question was. I just kind of rambled on for a bit.
It was good though. Yeah,
just talking mad shit.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. You said about touching on the style, like the aggressive style that they have done at Compton's. It's like it fucking suits me down to the ground. It does, Like I feel like I've got so much better from being down there just the space of 3 or 4 months or whatever it's been. Steve's the man, and he with coaching. He's fucking awesome, man.
Your style naturally when you came in, like you're just a fucking pest. You've got that dog and you had to get in someone's face and throw hard, right?
Get punched too much.
Yeah. You got the face as loves getting punched on the way in.
So Steve said to me, he was like, you don't mind getting hit? And I'm like, I fucking do. I just can't stop it.
I don't know how to do it. Yeah. No, you had that style where you could bridge that gap and you had the heavy hands and get in. Now you get in and you just don't stop. Now you kind of adapted that kind of mindset and style that we have. And once you're in there, I'm like, fuck, I hate this so much. Yeah, so you had that style, and now you've just got the weapons and idea of what Steve-O's kind of put into the group. So, yeah, I'm excited for your next fight, man, to see the addition to what you already were. Like, how I reckon you make this look easy. And everyone, you're not going to find a fight after this fight, to be honest, unless someone lets you fight for the belt again. I think people fucking hate fighting you.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Can't wait, man. Can't fucking wait. With your so you were training at Compton's. From there, how long was it before you ended up having your first fight then?
It's a good question.
Because I remember when I think I first saw you used to wear a die cap or something, didn't you? I don't know if you call them die caps over here. It's like a flat peak, is it?
What the fuck?
What's
he talking about?
Sorry, can you translate?
Do you wear those
A
fucking
die cap, boy.
Oh, they call them die cap in Wales.
Like the fucking Peaky Blinders hat?
Yes.
No, that's not me, bro.
Peaky
Was that
Blinders
you?
hat.
You used to wear one of them, no?
No.
At the fight shows.
No way. That's Damien Brown wears them.
Fuck, were you
He's like
wearing
50,
Damien
isn't he?
Brown's fucking hat then?
No, bro.
Fuck knows. I'm sure I used to see you wearing it.
Yeah, you get punched way too much, man.
Maybe I am. Fucking hell.
I haven't been seen dead. I play golf in one of them. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck knows that. Anyway. I could have swore I seen you at the Turnells helping out backstage with them. Anyway.
He was a stunt. He was a stunt double in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah,
In the fight
shit,
scenes.
I do get punched a lot too, so maybe I was. No, I don't think I was, man.
Where the fuck did I get that from, man? Anyway. What did I ask before that?
Yeah, that's when I started my first fight from when I started training.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Because I used to see, well, you obviously weren't wearing a hat, maybe it wasn't you, but I remember seeing you at the shows before we actually met and like helping the boys, maybe when Dom was fighting, or Tom, I think it might have been Tom as well. But yeah, how long between like fighting and stuff did you, was it like a year, 2 years?
No, I joined Compton like the end of 2021, like Christmas kind of time, because they just moved to Northgate at that point, which is closer to where I lived. And then I had my first fight mid-2022 at Beatdown. I started grappling 6 to 8 weeks before that. Yeah. So I was just doing striking, doing some like PTs with Elliot, and then 2022 started, joined the pro team in like January, February. Had surgery on my ankle, had a bone cut out. Got back from that, and literally like 2 weeks later, I'm like to Elliot, mate, I want to fight again. How do we go about it? And he goes, well, what do you want to fight? I'm like, well, Muay Thai. I'm a Muay Thai fighter. Like, have you thought about MMA? I'm like, no, not really. But like, I'll do anything, right? He goes, all right, sweet, leave it with me. He reached out to Damo to try and get like a amateur fight over the line for middleweight. And we're just waiting. He got back to me and goes, I've got something for you. I'm like, all right. But it's a little bit different than what we spoke about. At this point, I've done 2 weeks of grappling. I've just kind of started with the pro team. He goes, we got a fight, but it's light heavyweight. And it's the co-main event for Beatdown. Junior Tuffer just pulled out. We got his opponent. It's pro light heavyweight. He's a brown belt. He's had a bunch of Muay Thai fights. But I think it'll be good for you. I'm like, you're fucking stitching me up, bro. So everything about it was like why would you do that? I remember telling my mum, she goes, what the fuck? Like, didn't you just start? I'm like, yeah, it'd be great, right? Like, because I had no pressure on myself, no expectations. I was like, well, I get to go in there, I get to try, I get to test myself out and see what happens. Like, at that point, it wasn't a career option for me. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So I had 6 weeks from that point to practice some grappling, to try and work out if this brown belt light heavyweight dude took me down, how the fuck I was going to get out of it. And then, yeah, that was beat down in mid-2022, and I finished him in 39 seconds. Yeah. Split his face open on the first punch, split him again on the second punch, and then elbowed his face off. And yeah, and that was kind of like that mad dopamine rush, the adrenaline from that. I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking do this forever. Yes. You got me, hook, line, sinker. This is it. So, and then, yeah, from that point, just started training more, trying to link up the next fight. I actually broke the tendon in my hand on that fight, so I was out for a little bit longer than I wanted to. So it wasn't until end of that year or start of the next year that I actually fought again. Yeah, so it was a little bit of time, but yeah, fell in love with it from that point.
What was the recovery like on the hand before you could actually start throwing?
Yeah, so that beatdown fight, I snapped the tendon or the band that holds my tendon in place. Every time I close my hand, the tendon would roll off the knuckle.
Right.
It was a weird one. So that was a few months just kind of making sure that was all good. I was in a splint, got back in training. I fought on beatdown again against Khan Sandy. I think that was March 2023. And that's when I snapped my hand. Very first punch I hit him, I fractured my third metacarpal into itself, and I felt it, and I was like, fuck. And I just kept fighting through it. But that one was a few months. I had to have surgery on that, and that was like 6 to 8 months of like trying to build back to the point where I could fight again.
When you said broke it onto itself, do you mean like the bone had crossed over?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So a clean break, but like it like zigzagged, so it was like over the top of itself. And because I kept punching with it, there was just shards of bone all through my hand. Yeah, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hands are fucking delicate, man, and it's unlike if you fucking hitting hard as well on skulls.
Yeah.
Something's got to go, like, innit?
Yeah.
After the can, was that a long recovery with the hand?
Yeah, so a few months until I was like, obviously had surgery, swelling, had to get movement back in my hand. I couldn't close my hand, had to like get the strength back. And then once I was out of the cast, I was back sparring, but just left-handed. Couldn't throw my right hand for ages. And then mentally, I pretty much said to myself, once I was back sparring, this is the start of my fight camp. This is the start of my comeback. So I was like mentally and physically training my diet for like 4 or 5 months up to that fight against Darcy Noonan, start of this year. So I pretty much did like a 4-month camp for that, 4 or 5 months. Just mentally, I'm like, I'm coming back from this injury 1,000 times better. I learned a lot from Tom, Elliot on how to actually train like a true athlete, a true professional, because they train multiple times a day. Their recovery, at that point, I was only doing 2 sessions a day. Up to now, I'm doing up to 5 sessions a day, depending on the day, depending where I am in camp. I changed my work schedule. I started making these subtle changes in my life because I wanted to be the best. And like that period there was like my biggest come up. I was doing good, but now I'm going to fight on Eternal. I got bigger opponents. I'm coming back from this injury, and I'm going to absolutely throw down. On a 2-fight win streak now against 2 good opponents. And yeah, that was kind of the best period because when you get injury like that, you've broken things as well. You've hurt yourself. You got 1 or 2 things, right? I hadn't committed to my career enough where I could, if I walked away from it, it would bother me. I was 2 fights in, no expectations. I could walk away and just still live a life. Or that injury makes me hungry, so hungry that I'm like, all right, I have to push for this now. I truly want this. It's been taken away from me. I'm coming back and I'm going to make it happen. So I think that was my dividing line of how serious I started taking this career, how serious I started taking my training. And I knew that I was going to come back from this 10 times better, 100 times better, and make something of it. And I feel like, yeah, this last 12 months has been embodying that kind of mindset.
Fuck yeah. It makes a massive difference, that shit. You know, like you get some people like get injured and they just stop everything. Everything. And like I've been guilty of it before in the past where I broke my hand and I was back, it was during COVID, wherever, and I did not treat that injury the best I should have, you know, and like fucking, I think like the difference between that compared to how you're treating that or the way I treated my shoulder, like where you actually fucking put your head down properly and like you think about it every day, the mental work, the fucking all the other training you can do around working around things, that makes such a fucking difference, man. You actually come back from an injury better than when you fucking left it in there. Yeah, that's like mentally and physically, like your skills and everything.
Yeah, with one of your injuries, like your worst one, what was your kind of mental state when you had that injury in those like few weeks?
Terrible.
Yeah,
I was fucking. My head was up my ass. It was with my shoulders, one of the worst ones, because I'd come off a loss as well. And then I had they told me like 6 months before I was coming back to sport, and I just like I had like probably a couple of weeks of feeling a bit sorry for myself, and then like it was just a fucking switch in my head. Then I think I actually came across the fucking Mindset King Josh Saunders podcast, and it was just like fuck, it just hit me at the right time, and I was like, nice. I'm thinking about this so wrong, like, you know, and it's just the mental shift that changed everything for me. Yeah,
it's inevitable. Like in the game that you guys do, you're gonna get injured. You know what I mean? It's how you deal with it. Yeah, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I was a mess after when I broke my hand. Just like I don't take fucking Nurofen and Panadol or shit. I don't like taking anything, painkillers, and then obviously you snap your hand, surgery. You're on all the codeines, everything, and it changes your mental state, the chemistry of your mind. And I'm very well aware of that. And I was in the dumps. Hey, I was couldn't work, had 8 weeks no work, so I lost all my clients, couldn't train, on painkillers, this, so now I can't train, coming off a loss, which I feel like I should have won. Yeah, I was in a worse place that I've been in a long, long time. So then when I was like, all right, cool, every day, I'm like, good, just go to the gym, just sit there, watch the boys. All right, cool. Next time, jump on the bike, start getting some exercise, start getting the chemistry in your mind better. And it was a day-by-day thing. Every day I'm like, just get the fuck up, eat better today. And once you kind of one step, the mindset started coming back, and I was like, no, this is it. I'm going to make this a positive experience, not a negative. But for a while there, I was like, fuck, man, like everything I've been working for, I've been taken away. It's a small handbrake, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a life-changing experience, but just I knew how I was handling it wasn't well at all. I was like, I need to make this a good experience. So day by day, the team helping me out, and and now I'm on a 2-fight win streak. Career's in a good position, all because of that mental switch. And it wasn't easy, but had to happen.
Yeah. And like even just going to the gym and watching, man, like and seeing all your friends there and shit like that makes you feel better. And you are getting better just doing that, like the mental reps. You know what I mean? Like you can't physically do the reps, but you're there doing it in your head. You know what I mean? And learning as you go. Man, I think that's super important.
For sure.
Like you said, you come back better.
Yeah, just being part of the team, like whether you're sick or injured, just be there for your team.
Yeah,
because they're there for you, right? They just did 8 weeks of camp, getting beaten up by you. Then you just fuck off for 6 months. Nah, that's not how it works, man. Like, you sit at the gym, you fucking cheer them on, go pat them on the back, give them a fucking bottle of water or something. You got to be a teammate, whether you're in camp or not. And but that also keeps you mentally in a routine as well. Whether you're being active or not, you need to mentally be in the same routine. Especially like fighters, we're so fragile in that sense. Like everyone that I've talked to, you take away our routine, you take away our training, we fall apart. Like most people that I talk to, and we train for reasons, right? Mental reasons, physical reasons. And as soon as that's taken away from you, you need to get those mental reps and that routine in. Otherwise, it's the same result with everyone.
For sure, man. And it's like with the mental aspect, there's so many people like walking around with like fucking mental health issues and stuff like that just don't do any exercise at all. But like you see how important it is just doing something physically, how much that can change your mindset, and then it's a knock-on effect for everything else, isn't it? Yeah, fucking hell. So that was a Khan Sandy fight. So then you came back, beat Darcy. Mm-hmm. That was a fucking impressive performance as well. Like Darcy's tough as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember because that was I think that was the first fight I seen you fight actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the Khan Sandy one or the light heavyweight until that was I've seen him now, but that was the first one. I was like, fucking hell, he's a lot better than I thought he was.
Yeah, the king of the division's like, I didn't know you until you fucking finally did something good worth watching. He's like, king of the castle.
Was that a short notice fight, that one?
No, so I was originally booked to fight Christian Lapham from CMBT, and he had a rib injury 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out, which is unfortunate, but we were looking for an opponent, and Darcy originally was booked to fight someone else, and his opponent pulled out, whether that was a few days between my opponent pulling out, and Cam messaged him, anyone wanted to do this fight, and Darcy put his hand up. I'm like, fuck, mad respect here. So all the commentators are like, yeah, he took it on 1 week notice. Well, no, he was
that's where I heard it.
Everyone's like, 1 week notice, 1 week notice. And I'm like, fuck, don't disregard the fact that he was actually still fighting. But like, yeah, okay, he took that fight on short notice, and still mad respect for him to putting his hand up, right? For him, he was stepping up to the pro division for that fight. So nothing but respect for just having that dog in him. Like so many people pick and choose fights, but he's like, no, fuck it, let's go. And I actually fought Darcy as one of my amateur kickboxing career. So I'd lost to him.
Oh, true.
He's like, yeah, I'll probably get him again. And once he said yes, Elliot called me. He's like, yeah, we got a new opponent for you. His name's Darcy Noonan. I was like, fuck, that sounds familiar. I'm like, God, who is this Darcy guy? And I Facebooked, Instagram, whatever. I fucking know this guy. Like, he's beat me before. He goes, really? He goes, he didn't tell Cam that. And Cam called him. He's like, did you and Blair fight before? Yeah. He goes, you didn't want to fucking tell me that? Like, it's great marketing.
Yeah.
He goes, I didn't think it was important. So we both kind of changed opponents for that one, and he stepped up to the challenge. And, that was a first round finish. Didn't break my hand either, which is a big win for me.
fuck yeah. And then from that, beating Darcy, went on to fight. Then Nick Kep was after that. Yeah, true. Who have you got anything lined up for the rest of the year now?
No, we've been obviously 2 fights, first round finishes. I've been pretty unscathed this year, and we've been trying to get on that Perth Eternal card for weeks now, trying to get an opponent, working with Eternal to try and make that happen. I'm on a bit of a time restraint because I do have prior commitments for a few weeks after that. So it was either that fight show or not till the end of the year. So we were back and forth. I know what you're fishing out of me right now. I just realised.
What am I trying to fish out?
Nah, we'll see if you ask it. And back and forth. I had yes, no. We had an opponent. And then, everything fell through and we kind of pulled the plug on it last week because it's only 2 weeks away. Up until last week, I've been in a fight camp trying to wait for something to come up. But we'll once I get back from my commitments, we'll finish the year strong on the Eternal stage and get another really good fight in before the end of the year.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Do you know what dates they do have for the rest of the year? Do they have one in December, November?
I think the last Gold Coast show is 30th of November.
Yep.
And then I believe there's one happening mid-October, but I think that's in Sydney or something like that. So don't want to speak out of turn if it hasn't been announced, but there should be a mid-October fight show, but it's not at the Gold Coast.
Oh, I know what you. I know
I was waiting for the penny to drop.
No, I wasn't. That's not where I was going. I'm finished beating that drum now.
Yeah, cool.
The gay drum.
Yeah, you picking up what I'm putting down.
The gay drum. So what's the longest fight you've had so far in MMA?
The Darcy Noonan fight, which is a minute 40, minute 45. Well, actually, no. Khan Sandy went for, I think, maybe just hit 2 minutes or a minute 50.
So you're finishing most fights in a minute. Are you shagging as quick as you are fucking fighting as well?
I got 2 of my 4 fights, the 39-second finishes. If only my missus was as happy as I was with that kind of performance.
Hey, you're not getting paid by the hour, man.
No, fuck that. I think if you put all 4 of my fights together, I think it's 5.5 minutes.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, it's cool, right? Like, a first-round finisher. Whether I win or lose, I'm always first-round finisher. But as a martial artist, I'm like, fuck, I'd love to be tested, right? Which sounds stupid, but I want to see what I'm made of. I want someone to put the kind of heat on me, and I want to see me dig deep and kind of find that kind of inner dog and see what I can do. But it's very appealing to promotions. It's very appealing to supporters when you got a guy that can go in there and just throw down and get it done nice and fast. So if I can keep that kind of momentum going and keep that kind of career stat, I reckon it's pretty cool.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh, keep it going. I get what you mean though. Like you'd like to have you just want to have a 3 or 5 round war. You like fucking that was.
So you probably have more wars in the gym than
for sure.
In the cage.
Johnny hits me harder than anyone else has hit me before. So yeah, but I think that's how it should be, right? You should be having a team that pushes you in the gym. So when you get into the cage, it's easy. You're like, I've done this a million times. I know what's going to happen. I know when I don't feel like fucking getting back up that I can get back up. I know that I've gone fucking 10 rounds getting beaten up and I still get back up and I keep going. So I know that I've got that in me. It'd be cool to get tested, but at the same time, if I can just keep finishing it first round, I won't complain.
Oh, 100%. Just fucking keep on.
Yeah, you don't get paid. You don't get paid any extra to have a war, do you?
My fans are slowly dropping off. So I used to have, I think, a beatdown. I had like 170 tickets sold one day. Every fight show, I get less and less people coming to watch me fight because they got to drive down to the Gold Coast, pay accommodation, pay $100-something a ticket
for
just
a quick
39 seconds. I finished the fight. Like, all my friends and family were cheering. I got into the crowd. They're like, mate, we drove 6.5 hours for 30 seconds because I want a fucking refund paid to my account by tomorrow.
That's so funny. Well, what kind of buzz, like for people that don't fight, how would you explain like the feeling of getting like a fast knockout? Like, just like you getting your hand raised in general.
Yeah, it's epic. It's I don't get super nervous before fights. Like I'm calm, like I'm dancing out the back. You can see me when I jump in the ring, that Kepu fight. Like I'm having a joke with the referee. Like I'm laughing, I'm looking around, like I love it. So I don't get adrenaline dump when I fight. But when you get a first round finish or early finish like that, the adrenaline dump is fucking next level because you're not fighting out, like you don't get a slow adrenaline dump. It just all comes at once. And when I knocked out Kepu and the ref pushed me off, just the adrenaline dump just boom shoots through. I'm fully shaking. That's why in my interviews my voice is always like croaking, is because it takes away my voice. It takes away my voice. I can't breathe. My whole body's shaking. I'm trying not to cry. Like it's an intense, overwhelming feeling, and it's addictive, right? Like I guess that's one of the reasons why fighters struggle to stop fighting or know when to stop, because when they get in there, you got the crowd, you got your friends, your family cheering you. When all your hard work has paid off, when you're sitting there and you're like, fuck, I did that. Like I pushed through this absolute killer trying to knock my head off. I got it done. You chase that feeling every day. You go back to the gym, you work twice as hard to get back to that position. So yes, it's motivation, and it's like we talked about the other week. Like football, you lose this week, next week go again. You can try and make up for it next week. It could be months before you fight again if you can find an opponent, unlike you. So you put so much pressure, so much time and energy to try and make that moment count, that moment be the best that it can. And when it pays off, it's emotional. It's really, really emotional.
With the you're saying the like you're chasing that feeling as well. Is there, like, I hate the fucking cliche the question of why do you fight or why are you a fighter? Because it's like so many fucking different reasons. But do you think it's a mix of, or do you think it's more of you just love what you do every single day, or are you chasing that fucking high all the time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I said this on another podcast, highest and highs, lowest lows in the sport. If your motivation is to chase that, you got a short fucking career. Like, it's not guaranteed. And it shouldn't be your motivation for getting in there. Like, that means you're only chasing the hype around fighting. You're not fighting for the sake of fighting, which I don't think is wrong, and some people do that, but I love being in the gym. I love training. I love what it does for me mentally, physically. I'm a better person when I'm in fight camp. I'm a fucking dick when I'm out of fight camp because I've got all these other distractions. I can't focus on anything. But when I'm in fight camp, I'm eating well. I'm training well. I'm sleeping well. I'm a better partner for my girlfriend. I'm a better friend. I'm a better family member. I'm more present because I'm so focused and driven, and it inspires people around me to be focused and driven as well. But when I'm out of camp, I look up to that person that I am in camp. I'm like, fuck, if that's how I feel about myself when I'm in camp, why am I not doing that all day long? So like I fight for what it does to me. I love fighting, and I love the bonus to that is that feeling when you get in there. So win, lose or draw, when I'm walking out for a fight, that's my happiest moment. That's my adrenaline dump, or that's my kind of biggest dopamine hit, because I've just done X amount of months of training and work to get to that point, and I'm so fucking proud of myself. Like, no one can ever take away from me how hard I worked to get to this moment. So I'm at peace with whatever happens in that cage. Win, lose or draw, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of who I am. When I walk in there, I just get to throw down and make it happen. If that means I'm better than them and I win, sweet. If I go in there and they're better than me, well, I've done everything I can to beat you and you still beat me, I'll shake your fucking hand. Good job, man. Like, you're a better fighter than me today. So I'm going to go back and keep working on it. So once I adopted that kind of mindset, yeah, I feel very, very healthy in how I'm approaching fighting. I feel very healthy in like my mindset towards it. But yeah, the hype is exciting and is a good bonus. But yeah, I definitely don't do it for that. That's for sure.
That's a fucking good answer, that is. And like, I think like other fighters or fucking competitors doing whatever should listen to that and really fucking take that on board, because it's so much more, like you said, about if you're chasing the highs, that is you shouldn't be so outcome focused, like, and it's way more than that. Like, it's a fucking good answer, that is.
Yeah. When you're saying like being a better partner, I was thinking about this today, like how important do you reckon it is like to have a good partner, like doing what you're doing? Because I was thinking about some, like, you know, John's obviously got a really good partner, super supportive. Like everyone I know who's like made a success out of like, you know, the lifestyle that you guys are doing, they always have a super supportive partner. And like, because it wouldn't be easy, you know what I mean? Like you're at the gym all the time, probably, you know, cutting weight, bit grumpy, tired, you know what I mean? So she's got to put up with that. Like how important would you say that is?
Yeah, it's massive. And like we're still learning. I'm only 4 fights into my career with my partner, and so we're still learning the best way to navigate around that as well. As you know, like fighting is a very selfish sport. Like end of the day, you're the one getting in there, getting beaten up, and you gotta be very, very selfish in your training and your approach to your day to day. A lot of your day is based around that one objective: your sleep, your nutrition, how often you're training, what you do in your downtime. It depends how hard or how far you take that, right? Like I'm very conscious on energy expenditure. So on the weekend, I don't want to do fucking shit. Like I'm sitting on that couch and watching TV and I let my body rest. So then at what point do I start giving back to my partner, right? Like how do I start like giving her the attention, love, and respect that she needs? So every fight we're slowly kind of navigating that and finding a nice happy medium. And I feel like this last fight we were definitely at our best with that. But I'm also conscious when I'm not in camp, it's my turn to give back. It's my turn to give back because she's put up with me being tired, maybe grumpy, a little bit short one day, in cutting weight, like in a sauna, ready to fucking murder someone. But it also comes down to communication during that period as well. So yeah, during camp, I'm more like conscious. All right, cool. I'm actually in a bad mood today. I'm pretty worn down. I've just been beaten up by Johnny for 5 hours. Hey, I'm coming back. I'm a little bit down. Let's go out for dinner tomorrow, or let's go for a walk or something. Make sure that we kind of leave it all behind and just be present. But yeah, it's so important. They're trying to be your peace during some of the hardest kind of weeks, months of your life. But then when that's all done and gone, you need to be able to give that back to them. Yeah, and there has to be an understanding on both sides. You can't just take and be selfish during that period, and then once you're out of it, just keep taking. Like you got to give back at some stage.
Yeah, so true. Because they really, it's a fucking journey for them as well. Like,
oh yeah, they're emotionally and physically invested in everything you're doing too, so they feel what you're feeling.
And imagine having to watch someone like you love, like imagine having to watch your missus get it again to have a fight. You know, you'd be shit.
That'd be sick. We should do that. We should do the bonus fight show is all fighters' misses get in. 1 week of training, claws out, best misses win.
All right, maybe it wasn't a good example. Blair's like, I love that against you, didn't I? I love that shit.
That'd be sick.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I don't know about you. I find it more nerve-wracking watching a friend fight than it is me fighting myself. You know? But fucking hell, they go through. They're invested just as much. Like, you know, it's like you're saying, like my missus does as much for me as possible. Like the last couple of weeks before camp, like, you know, just to make my life easier. Like, but yeah, trying to pay it back and then spend as much time with them after it. Then, I think that is really important for sure. It's it's a fucking journey, man. Do you get nervous? You say you don't get nerves on the day of the fight, and do you get like nervous leading up to the fight? Is it obviously nerves and excitement feel very similar as well, Nate? Is it something you think with at all, or do you just push it down? Do you not get them? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't want to sit there and say I don't get nervous. I definitely feel the excitement, but that mindset that I was talking about that I've adopted, and I actually got this from Steve Compton and just molded it personally around me about as long as I can get to that fight week and I've ticked every single box. I've done my sparring. I've got a game plan. I've done my aerobic work. I've done my sprints. I've done this. If I can get to fight week, I'm like, I've done everything. Well, what do I got to be nervous about? The results paved itself. If I'm good enough, I'll win. If I'm not, fuck, they'll win. Okay, so what am I nervous about? Getting hurt? I get hurt every fucking day in the gym. So once I start kind of going through lists, I'm like, what am I actually nervous about? The fact I'm going to lose. It's a 50-50 chance. You either win or lose. Someone has to win, someone has to lose. And but I know that I've done everything in my power to win. As long as I can say that last sentence to myself that I've done everything in my power to win, I don't get nervous. Like I go, fuck yeah, I'm fight week. It's fight week, yeah. I get to throw down. But I'm not scared about it. I'm not worried about it. I've done what I have to do. If you beat me and I'm at the top of my game, fuck, man, that's a good job because I'm pretty good. You have to bring it to beat me. So I don't get quite nervous. My body gets nervous, though. On fight day, my hand's like shaking. I'm like, I'm all good. I don't think that I'm nervous, but my whole body's shaking. It's kind of processing that shit's about to happen. It knows. But then I kind of hit a few pads, calm into the day, and all of a sudden, I'm ready to go.
That's cool, man.
Do you get nervous?
Yeah. Randomly though, I think like again, it's harder to distinguish between excitement, nerves. I find like 2 weeks before the fight, I'll be drifting off to sleep, and then I'll think about something I want to do in the fight, and then that's me up then for like longer than I should be just thinking about it, and you start getting like you get excited about little sequences you're going through in your head. This is happening, that's happening, like so little bits like that. I used to get really nervous before walking out for a fight, but the last 4 or 5 fights, I've almost got like a pattern throughout the day where after weigh-ins, the week of the fight, I don't really get too nervous. I'm just focused on making weight. The morning of the fight, after the weigh-ins, I'm just enjoying myself. I don't even think about the fight. I'm refeeding, just fucking living life. Just loving having...
Enjoying not sweating and dying.
Just loving getting some carbohydrates in me. But then the morning of the fight, I wake up pretty nervous, and then it builds and builds and builds and builds to the point where I'll go and do some breathing exercises, because like the physical... I can call it feels like anxiety, whatever. I'll just go lay down by myself, do some breathing exercises, calm myself down, hit some pads, and I'm like, I feel loose as fuck. And hit pads, hitting pads, that's the bit where I'm like, I'm on, like, I'm ready to go, like. And then by the time I get to the actual get to the venue, I'm fucking chilled. Like I don't feel nerves before going out. It used to freak me out because it started happening around the Kit Campbell fight, where I was walking out, where I was getting to the warming up for the fight, and I don't feel anything, no nerves, no excitement, no nothing, and it fucking freaked me out for like 2 fights. But now I'm like, oh, this is just like training. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like somewhere that I've become comfortable in my mind now. So yeah, and I just I've had a couple of fights where I've tried to like hype myself up in my head or try and get wound up, and it felt forced. So now I'm just like, I just think about everything technical, and I just feel really focused with it now.
I get that. My Darcy Noonan fight, I was like warming up. I'm like warming up, hitting pads. I'm like looking around. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what? My heart should be in my fucking throat right now. Like, not that that's happened before, but I was kind of waiting for that, oh shit, I'm about to fight moment, or like that adrenaline dump, or the nerves to kick in. But I was kind of looking around. I'm like, all right. And then once I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm just ready. Like, I'm just ready to go. I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, I was the same. I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm about to fight, and I'm just like chilling, and I'm like trying to like get it to happen. But yeah, it's a cool experience when you kind of like be just, I'm ready. Just walk in there.
I find like the mental aspect is probably the biggest thing the longest thing that it took me to figure out, like through my fights now. You know what I mean? I've had no fucking, I don't even know. But like, yeah, that's the part that took the longest for me to figure out. But now I think I got a set thing with that, and I having that kind of mindset of like thinking of it technically rather than trying to ride off my emotions, because the emotions just aren't there sometimes. That's what's happened the last few, and just thinking just technical wise, that's where the goals are.
Yeah, because it's not really who wants to win the most. Like, we could have a fight and I want to win more than you, but you're just way better than me. Yeah. Like, you're going to win every time, right? So it's like the systems you have in place. I can't remember, I heard this on a podcast, the Modern Wisdom podcast. At 100, when you start the 100-meter sprint, everyone wants to win, you know what I mean? And you could want to win more than the guy next to you, but it's the systems you have in place that's going to make you win, right? So like how they train, or, the steps that they take for that moment, like that's going to matter more than like, fuck, I really want to win. And then that probably just takes away from your performance, caring too much about your performance, right?
You stop thinking about things that you need to. You start thinking about, I really, really want this, but you're like, well, what about this? I think learning jiu-jitsu has made me more like analytical in that sense, where I'm like actually thinking of like phases and things. I'm a very like instinctual fighter. Like I'm an aggressive instinctual fighter. My reaction response to stimulus in front of me is very, very fast in a flow. I don't think I'm going to go this. My body tells me where it wants to go and what it wants to do. Like, oh, did you set up that head kick? No, I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. I don't even remember throwing it. My body was in a position where that made the most sense, and I hit that target. Where jiu-jitsu, it's like a chess match, right? And prime example is talking to Dom Marfam, just how in his mind it's like he's a mad fucking man, but he just, everything is so, this goes to here, this, like, he's just got this jigsaw in his mind and he knows how everything pieces together, which I think helps him in grappling and things, but I think it also takes away from his striking sometimes. And his last 2 fights, he's shown that he's made that adaptation really, really well. So I'm starting to learn how to, like, piece together the puzzle prior in my mind, taking this jiu-jitsu mindset. But I'm very much like a flow reaction kind of person. And I take that into grappling, but you can only get you so far when you start going up against guys like yourself that are so in tune with this goes to here, or use this setup to do this. And I'm starting to learn that mindset, but it's completely different to anything I've done before.
And with Dom as well, Dom is really like analytical and like cerebral when it comes to like fighting and grappling and stuff. It's fucking, it's pretty interesting. You can ask him almost anything and he's got an in-depth answer about every position. Like,
he's gonna make a good coach one day.
Fuck, he's making a good coach now.
Yeah. And he's helped the team a lot in that mindset sense, and how he's like learning to apply it to himself with striking stuff. But you're 100% right. You ask him one question and he'll just talk for 45 minutes and you're like, I don't even fucking remember what I asked you anymore, but I've learnt so much.
Yeah.
And got dumber at the same time talking to you.
Yeah. I got dumber, yeah. Oh, fuck, that's funny. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, boy? Have you got like long-term plans, or are you just taking one fight at a time? Where's your mindset of that sort of stuff?
This year, I've kind of got to the point now where it's like I can start seeing the future paved out in front of me, or at least I can start working towards a future that I want paved out in front of me. I think if I keep doing what I'm doing and on the track that I'm on, taking these bigger fights, and I keep finishing people like I am, or at least performing the way that I perform, like I'm an exciting striker, I put on a good show. In the next 12 months, I'd be very, very surprised if I'm not walking around with a belt or looking at potentially knocking on the door internationally. To make that happen, though, there's lots of shit that can go right and can go wrong. I understand that, but I need to make a conscious thought that this is what's in front of me, this is what I got to work towards, and this is what can happen if I achieve what I want to achieve, and then just make the pivots and adjustment as they come. Yeah, I'm never been a person that can answer that 5-year question or 10-year question. All I can say is that I'm surrounded by a team that's pushing the international stage as a whole, with yourself, me, Dom, Tom, Stewie. In the next year, 2 years, we're going to have 4 or 5 guys fighting international, whether that's on the UFC stage, PFL, there's so many promotions now, but I see that I have the potential to do that. I just got to make the steps between now and then to make that happen. And I think the next 12 months for me is going to be that deciding factor. Like that's what I've made in my mind, is by this time next year, I should know how close I am to making it. Like, it's not going to be like, cool, a few more fights. It's no, one more fight, or you've made it, or I'm not kind of keep going through the motions to see where it might take me. I'm going to fucking make it happen. So that's how I see the next 12 months playing out for me.
Fuck yeah, that's exciting as fuck, man. That's really exciting. And something we ask most people as well is like, what would you give your younger self, some advice? Whether it be like 16, 18, or younger fighters coming up now that want to get into it. Is there anything you could think of to pass on to like the younger generation or yourself? It can be fight related, not fight related, whatever.
Sure, yeah, I've got a few ones. Stay away from girls. Boys are way better.
Fuck, John's getting excited over here.
Yeah, Johnny loved that one.
True.
One that I always kind of say to people is like enjoy the journey. Like, don't. I get this question all the time of like, oh, I want to quit my job full time, start training full time, and like try and make it. I'm like, okay, how often are you training right now? Well, once every few days. Like, fuck, man. Like, you're so objective based, you haven't even enjoyed the journey. You're not even in a position where you can start looking objective based. Is enjoy the journey, and I think I did that. And I still do that to this day. When I was younger, I joined martial arts or Muay Thai, and I fell in love with the consistent attitude to learning, like forever evolving, forever learning, forever getting better. Whether I fought or not, I didn't really care at that point. And I've taken that attitude all the way through my career, and I still talk about like that, and I still talk like that, because I love learning. I love trying to get better. It's only now that I'm kind of like, well, what's my objective with this? Where can I actually take this? So I'm proud of that kind of attitude towards things, and I think people need to adapt that. be a bit more of a journeyman rather than objective based. Don't get me wrong, have goals, have aspirations, do that shit. But remember, there's a lot of shit that can happen between now and then, and be open to pivoting and moving around that. So, again, what was the question? I was just talking shit, but yeah,
that's a good answer.
Yeah, just be a journeyman. Enjoy what you're doing, and then make those adjustments along the way. Have goals, aspirations, but fucking work hard. Learn to work hard. Learn to work harder than the person next to you, and those things will come to you. Just work hard.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
And speaking of working hard, actually, just before we go, I wanted to ask you as well about obviously the you're a pro fighter, but obviously as well as that, you have your own business as well. Battlefit Coaching, is it Battlefit Coaching?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you train. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What you actually do?
Yeah. So Battlefit Coaching is pretty much the whole idea of Battlefit Coaching was to take all the positive things that I got from martial arts in terms of my mental health, my ability to work hard, discipline, and not instant gratification, and give that to everyday people. So I call it, or my bio on my Instagram is creating everyday warriors, or martial arts inspired fitness. I want to give Joe Blow on the street the fucking chance to come in and learn that he's stronger than he realizes that he is, right? Everyone thinks they can fight till they come in, they do a 2-minute round on the pads and they're like, what the fuck is that, right? It's different fitness, and then you get someone punching in the face and this. For example, I've got a girl, won't use names, who joined my gym through another PT, started doing training with me, had very, very low confidence. Not a lot of self-confidence, didn't have any faith in her ability to kind of push herself. And she just did some boxing. She's now doing jiu-jitsu. She's now doing MMA. She now throws girls over her shoulder onto the mats. She's done sparring before. She does workshops. And she's literally changed her life because she took the step to try and get uncomfortable. She's so used to rocking up to that gym, potentially crying sometimes because I've pushed her put her in a position where she's uncomfortable, but she's worked through it and become a better person for it, right? And martial arts does that. Jiu-jitsu, having some random person on top of you choking the shit out of you, but you got to be able to make a calm, calculated decision. You take that and put that into your everyday life, that's huge. So I create this environment where everyday people can be pushed like martial arts has pushed me, and they can apply that to their everyday life. So that's why I call them everyday warriors, because we're all fighting shit. We're all got our own battles in our head and in our life. But if you know how hard you can push or be pushed before you crack, those battles are fucking easy. So that's the kind of mindset or long-winded answer to that is, yeah.
That's cool, man. And like, how did you start? You started that when you got to Compton's, is it?
Yeah. So I was at Compton's for a little bit, and then I wanted to be in the gym a little bit more, and my brothers were selling the gym. So I was like looking for work, and Elliot said, mate, if you can get enough PTs, you can just PT out of here and just pay us rent. And it was meant to be like a 3-month thing. I was like, I'll just go 3 months and see. In that 3 months, I went from 1 to 12 clients. And then 6 months in, I was at 20 clients. And then by the end of that year, I was doing 16 PTs a day, 6 days a week. I was like, oh, fuck, this got a bit out of hand. I need to be able to train a little bit more. So I refined my hours. I don't have as many people coming through the door, but everyone that I train now have been with me for 12 months, 2 years from the very beginning. So our retention's really, really high. I'm constantly evolving and learning how to be better for these people as well. We've now got Ethan Mitchell jumped on, who does some PTs and trying to help build his brand and as a coach and a fighter. But that's the full-time thing now, and I can see this evolving into a lot of other things down the track. I'm doing like online content, seminars around Australia, talking to like businesses about mindset and what we just spoke about, like the ability to push through everyday shit and finding the uncomfortableness in life and embracing it. That's what I do in my spare time, I guess, outside fighting.
We're going to tag your Instagram in that as well, but like if people want to get in touch with you, like Brisbane, area in Brisbane, how to get in touch with you will all be all on your Instagram. Yeah,
so Blair Bretag or B Bretag MMA is my personal account, or Battlefit Coaching is the business account. Reach out to either. Lots of content coming out, so you don't have to train with me to train with me. You can kind of follow the content and take a few tips and things that we kind of talk about, our mindset towards training, and kind of keep up to date with that. But also, if you're a gym and you want to get us to come in and talk to you, or do some kind of skill-based coaching with you guys as well, we can do that too.
Yeah, mad.
Sick, man.
That's awesome, man. We'll wrap it up there anyway. But yeah, cheers, Blair boy. That was fucking awesome.
Cool.
Cheers, Blair. Thanks for
the
coming
chat,
on, buddy.
boys. That was good.
Legend. Thank you.